Now, here's a good rule of thumb. Don't steal intellectual property from people with money. I'm Andrei Mincov, the founder of Trademark Factory. And in this video, I'm going to share my thoughts about yet another screw up. This time around, it's Ariana Grande suing Forever 21 for $10 million. I'm known for saying that it doesn't matter who's right and who's wrong. It doesn't matter what's legal, what's illegal. The only thing that matters is what are you gonna do about it? You may be right 1,000 times, but if you're not committed to find the resources to go after somebody who's wrong, it doesn't matter that you're right. It doesn't matter that they're wrong. They'll get away with being wrong and you'll get nothing for being right. Because law is really all about risk management. It's not about finding the perfect solution in 100% of the cases. It's about figuring out what risks are acceptable and which ones aren't. And the more you go into the territory of stealing from people with money, the higher the risk. Because guess what? They have the money! They have the money to sue you! They have the money to go after you! And because they have the money, they're not going to waste their personal energy and time going after you. They have an army of lawyers for that. Now, this is very different from stealing from a poor person who's got no money and for whom the fight over their intellectual property will be the fight of their entire life. Think of the movie The Flash of Genius. The guy won, but he won at the expense of his life. And I'm not saying that what he did is wrong. Thank God that he was able to win that case. And thank God we have this great movie. But there is a cost. And the more money you have, the less the cost. Because as one of the sayings I love is that if you have a problem that can be fixed by money, you don't have a problem. Right? So think of this article that I'm going to read to you in a second from the perspective of don't ever think of stealing intellectual property from people with money. All right, let's do this. Ariana Grande names ailing Forever 21 in $10 million trademark copyright lawsuit. Ariana Grande suing Forever 21 for $10 million. According to the complaint filed by counsel for Grande in a federal court in California on Monday, after a potential deal between the pop star and the fast fashion brand, which is reportedly on the brink of bankruptcy, fell through because of Forever 21's unwillingness to pay the fair market value for a celebrity of Ms. Grande's stature, the ailing fast fashion retailer enacted a backup plan. It stole her name, likeness, and other intellectual property to promote their brands for free. Grande's counsel alleges in the 76-page complaint that in lieu of inking a deal with the Grammy winner, Forever 21 and its sister beauty brand, Riley Rose, which was founded by Esther and Linda Chang, daughters of Forever 21 founder Du Wang Chang, created a marketing campaign that capitalized on the concurrent success of Ms. Grande's album Thank You Next by publishing at least 30 unauthorized images and videos misappropriating Ms. Grande's name, image, likeness, and music in order to create the false perception of her endorsement. Forever 21's use of images of Grande in its Instagram posts is particularly egregious, the complaint asserts, as Grande is highly sought after by companies hoping to secure her endorsement of their products, and those companies are willing to pay enormous sums of money to engage her to help promote their brands. As a result, even a single social media post by Ms. Grande can garner fees of several $100,000, and her longer-term endorsement arrangements command fees in the millions of dollars. Now think about this. A single social media post, because it's associated with a celebrity, can make her hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. Guess what generates that money? It's not her music, it's her brand, right? And I'm not necessarily talking about trademarks at this point. I'm talking about the brand that she's generated, the name. I love the saying that first you work for the brand and then the brand works for you. Pretty much every successful brand has gone to the territory when now the brand does half the work. If you are selling a Rolls Royce to somebody who's considering buying a Rolls Royce, you don't really need to spend a lot of time explaining, the technical aspects of the car, because people are not buying the car, people are buying the brand. Same with pretty much every other brand that has accomplished the goal, the dream of pretty much every entrepreneur out there. The brand that becomes a household name, the brand that everyone knows and a lot of people admire. So when somebody makes a social media post with somebody else's brand in a way to promote their products and services, there you have it. They may not be happy about it, especially if you've discussed the opportunity of working together. If you were crafting a deal and then when you didn't agree on the money, you still use their brand, that's probably the most idiotic thing you could do. Because now you don't have an excuse of saying, whoops, I didn't know you're supposed to get paid for something like this. How would I know? I mean, it's just a photograph, right? We just like your music. No, not in this case. So let's keep going. More than merely co-opting images of Grande, though, Forever 21 also falsely suggested Ms. Grande's endorsement by featuring a look-alike model in the campaign, which remained on social media for a total of 14 weeks, despite Grande's counsel's objections, and by making use of clothing and accessories that resemble clothing worn in Ms. Grande's music videos, and that the public immediately associates with Ms. Grande. The resemblance between Grande and the model chosen by Forever 21 for the campaign was uncanny, thanks to the fact that the model was wearing a similar hairstyle to the one Ms. Grande wore in the Seven Rings video, dressed in a top designed to look like a top worn by Ms. Grande in numerous well-known photographs, including photographs of Ms. Grande that Forever 21 wrongfully posted on its Instagram feed, and using a pose that is virtually identical to the pose in which Ms. Grande has been photographed, among other things. Note, it does not appear that Grande is claiming ownership over the hairstyle or the clothing at issue, which would certainly be a losing battle. Instead, her counsel seems to be pointing to these elements as indicators of Forever 21's use of her likeness more generally. That makes sense. It's a good comment, actually. Still yet, the brand went even further by using audio and lyrics from Grande's recent hit single Seven Rings, and including the distinctive 7 from the Seven Rings video in the background and in captions for its campaign. Forever 21's intent was clear. Grande's counsel claims to suggest to the viewing public that Ms. Grande endorsed Forever 21, its products, and was affiliated with Forever 21, even though she was not. Wow, they really did a lot of things to piss Ms. Grande off and give her a really good ammunition for her lawyers to go after them. Because, again, sometimes you do things that are on the edge, they're gray zone. Some things you might be able to get away with. Some things you expect to be able to get away with because the other side is not going to care. But when you negotiate a deal, the deal doesn't happen, and you now rub it in their face by doing all the things that unmistakably associate you with them, this is just dumb. This is just dumb. Unless Forever 21 made so much money as part of that campaign that the money that they're going to pay to Ariana Grande as part of the lawsuit is just going to be a drop in the bucket. But I don't know. We'll see. As a result of the foregoing, Grande's complaint sets forth claims of trademark infringement in connection with its use of her name, which is trademarked, and copyright infringement for its unauthorized use of her photos, and false endorsement. Her counsel also cites a claim of violation of your right of publicity, a state-specific legal doctrine developed to give individuals the ability to prevent others from commercially exploiting their names and or likenesses without permission. So you can't just take a famous face and slap it on your product and say, we are the preferred whatever, we are the preferred phone of this person or that person, right? That's not how it goes, because that creates that commercial exploitation of somebody else, their name and their likeness. In accordance with the doctrine, celebrities have grounds to take action when their names, images, likenesses are used for commercial purposes. Grande is seeking no less than $10 million in damages. And actually, let me go back to the use of likenesses. It has to be used for commercial purposes. And sometimes, again, you can get away when you can have at least an argument that the use was not made for commercial purposes. When, for example, you have a story about a celebrity. So let's say a celebrity did something, it's news of the day, something happened, something interesting. You tell the story to illustrate your point. And yes, you may be offering certain services, but if you make it clear to separate the story from your services, you can get away with that, because you say, no. Yes, the story kind of proves our point, but we're not saying that you're endorsing our products and services. This is very different. And this is completely different from what Forever 21 did here. The singer's case is something of a throwback to the $20 million suit the reality television megastar Kim Kardashian filed against Old Navy back in 2011 after the mass market retailer ran a commercial featuring lookalike model Melissa Molinaro. Kardashian's counsel asserted in the suit, which settled out of court ahead of trial, that because Kim Kardashian is immediately recognizable and is known for her look and style, by using a lookalike model, Old Navy knew exactly what it was doing, appropriating her identity for its own commercial benefit. So this is going to be interesting. And it only shows how valuable your brand could be. Your likeness, your name, it's still a brand. Right, you can use different legal terminology. Not all of this can be trademarked in the sense of getting a certificate of registration for that trademark. But it's all about the brand. The value that the brand carries is enormous, and that's why two things happen. First of all, that's why celebrities make so much money on when they agree to promote somebody else's products, endorse somebody else's products. They get paid a lot of money. But it's also the reason why those same celebrities treasure their brands and don't let anybody else steal those brands and use them without their permission, because that's their bread and butter. And that only shows how important brands can be when you're successful. But guess what? The secret to building a successful brand is that one day, just the day before the brand becomes successful, it's a brand like any other brand, a brand that no one's ever heard of. And sometime before then, it's a brand that hadn't even existed. Every huge brand was a brand that one day didn't exist. It was a brand that one day nobody knew about. It was a brand that one day only a handful of people knew about. And then one day, overnight success, right? Sometimes these overnight successes are 10, 20 years in the making. But when they get there, they get there. And those brands are super valuable, and all successful businesses, all successful entrepreneurs, all successful companies protect their brands while they're still very small and barely noticeable by others, because by the time they get big, it's too late. So if you found this video useful, make sure you subscribe, get notified whenever the next video goes live. And we post videos like this every single day. Some are about trademarking disputes or trademarking screw-ups, some about frequently asked questions about trademarks, some of them me answering your questions about trademarks, some of them are about great brands, some of them are about me interviewing great entrepreneurs. and we're planning to launch a few more series. So stay tuned, subscribe now, and I'll see you in the next video.